Dear Democrats, liberals, and progressives, you started it. You know, one can trace former President Trump's recent indictment by a Manhattan DA back to the media/Democrat belief that Trump's 2016 victory was illegitimate. Sure, there are some fringes that question Barack Obama's birthplace. And after the 2000 Bush v. Gore Supreme Court decision, some Democrats, for a time, groused and called George W. Bush president-select. But never in modern times has a president been so widely and consistently described as illegitimate as has candidate, president, and now former president Donald Trump. It never stopped. And I say this as a son of a lifelong Democrat mom, as a younger brother of a lifelong Democrat, a Navy vet who was my best friend, my brother. My Marine vet dad was a registered Republican with whom my mother and brother disagreed in spirited but never hateful debate across a kitchen table. When John Kennedy defeated Richard Nixon in 1960, my father never screamed foul, despite credible allegations of vote stealing, especially in Illinois and Texas. Nixon knew about this, but chose not to protest and filed no lawsuits, perhaps fearing counter allegations against his campaign. But he let it go. Last year, the New York Times published a review of a Nixon-friendly biography. According to the book, Nixon, at his Christmas party after Kennedy's narrow victory, told his guests, "We won, but they stole it from us." Now, the Times review mostly dismissed Nixon's complaint, but added, and I'm quoting them, "None of this," wrote the Times, "is to deny that Mayor Richard J. Daley of Chicago had a history of ballot manipulation or that votes were likely stolen in Texas. To the extent that fraud occurred, it was not enough to change the result, least of all in Texas, where Kennedy's margin exceeded 46,000 votes. The weakness of the case," writes the Times, "did not stop Nixon's men from pushing their allegations, but 6 decades hence, in the absence of new evidence, at a time when false claims of a stolen election pose a mounting threat to our system of self-government, historians ought to think twice before endorsing them," end of quote. Let's repeat that line. Historians ought to think twice, said the New York Times, about endorsing allegations of stolen elections. I think that's sound advice. And the advice applies to non-historians, particularly media pundits and politicians. And this brings us to the 2016 election, in which upstart Donald Trump, not taken seriously by Democrats, most of the media, and the American left, defeated the heavy favorite Hillary Clinton, whose chance of winning the election, the New York Times, on election day, pegged at 85%. About the election, President Barack Obama's Homeland Security Secretary Jay Johnson testified before Congress that despite the Russians' efforts, they failed to change a single vote tally.
I know of no evidence that through cyber intrusions, votes were altered or suppressed in some way.
Got a question for you. Are you concerned with stock market volatility?
Markets closing in on their worst year since the financial crisis.
Since 2020, the Dow closed down more than 1,100 points.
Financial markets had their worst day since the start of the pandemic.
Do you really trust this economy?
The U.S. economy could be headed for a recession.
Tonight, the alarming spike in inflation soaring to its highest level in nearly 40 years.
What if you can invest in a portfolio with a high fixed rate of return that's not correlated to the stock market? Well, you can turn your monthly income on or off, compound it, whatever you choose, and get this, there is no loss of principal if you need your money back, and absolutely no fees. Just log on to investyrefy.com. Folks, I personally invest with my own money with YRefi. So log on to investyrefy.com or call 888-YREFI24. That's 888-YREFI24. As to the Russian election interference, largely through ads and posts on Facebook, Johnson called it unknowable whether this altered public opinion and therefore altered the outcome of the election. Unknowable. Yet 2 years later, a 2018 YouGov poll found 66% of Democrats believe that Russia in 2016 changed vote tallies. And A 2018 Gallup poll found 78% of Democrats believe that the Russian 2016 interference, quote, changed the outcome of the election, end of quote. This means a greater percentage of Democrats believe the 2016 election was stolen than Republicans who feel the same way about 2020. Nearly 25% of the Democrat congressional delegation refused to attend Trump's inauguration. When Trump won, Representative John Lewis, one of the most respected members of the House, called Trump's election illegitimate, a charge Lewis reiterated months before he died.
You have forged relationships with many presidents. Do you plan on trying to forge a relationship with Donald Trump?
You know, I believe in forgiveness. I believe in trying to work with people. It's going to be hard. It's going to be very difficult. I don't see this president-elect as a legitimate president.
You do not consider him a legitimate president. Why is that?
I think the Russians participated in helping this man get elected, and they helped destroy the candidacy of Hillary Clinton. I don't plan to attend the inauguration. It will be the first one that I miss since I've been in the Congress. You cannot be at home with something that you feel that is wrong.
Again, Jay Johnson testified under oath, not a single vote tally was changed. And we don't know whether the Russian interference, he said, altered the outcome of the election. We'd have to have a world where there was interference and one where there wasn't, and compare the two. Since we can't do that, it is unknowable. Yet John Lewis referred to Donald Trump as illegitimate and believes the Russians put him there. Former President Jimmy Carter said this.
There's no doubt that the Russians did interfere in the election, and I think the interference, although not yet quantified, if fully investigated, would show that Trump didn't actually win the election in 2016. He lost the election, and he was put into office because the Russians interfered.
No doubt, he said, put there by the Russians. Again, not a single vote tally was changed, not one. Hillary Clinton routinely called the election stolen and President Trump illegitimate.
As I've been telling candidates who have come to see me, you can run the best campaign, you can even become the nominee, and you can have the election stolen from you.
I believe he knows he's an illegitimate president. He knows.
He knows. He's illegitimate. It was stolen. One more time. Not a single vote tally was changed, and Jay Johnson testified under oath, it is unknowable whether or not the Russian interference altered public opinion and therefore altered the election. We just don't know. New York Attorney General Letitia James said she will, quote, never be afraid to challenge this illegitimate president, end of quote. Yet, Republicans did not call Clinton, Carter, Lewis, and the Democrats who boycotted Trump's inaugural election deniers. After all, the First Amendment gives losers, with or without evidence, the right to complain without fear of prosecution, let alone persecution. About Trump's indictment by Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg over hush money payments, two can play the rogue prosecutor game. You know, in the movie Tora, 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 about the surprise attack on Pearl Harbor, Japanese Admiral Yamamoto said, "I fear all we have done is to awaken a sleeping giant and fill him with a terrible resolve," end of quote. This may come back to bite you Democrats, and bite you Democrats big time. Oh my goodness, I've got a pair of my slippers in my baby brown libertarian fingers. These are so comfortable, so smooth, so soft, you'll wonder why you've never ordered them before. They come in different colors. They also come in different styles. So go to mypillow.com, promo code ELDER, or call the number on your screen. And what's this? This is the brand new MyPillow 2.0, even better than the original MyPillow 1.0. Why don't you have one? I don't know. Call the number on your screen or go to mypillow.com, promo code ELDER. By the way, there are over 100 products, so check them all out. This is a 6-pack. Notice it says towels that work, meaning they actually absorb the water. Isn't that what you want your towels to do? Have you noticed? You go to the store, you see these fluffy towels. They look good, they may even smell good, but they don't absorb the water, which is kind of the whole point. 6-pack towels that work. They come in different colors, of course. And finally, I have here the My Pillow Giza Dream bedsheet. Let me do it on this side. That's even better. Mine comes in white because I am the black face of white supremacy, but you're not. So you may want a different color. And of course, they come in different sizes because beds come in different sizes. Remember, over 100 products. Just call the number on your screen or go to mypillow.com, promo code ELDER. That's mypillow.com, promo code ELDER. This occurred in the Minnesota Capitol on something called Trans Day of Visibility. Watch this. That's 64 seconds of my life I'll never get back. California House member Maxine Waters is doing a victory lap over Trump's indictment because she predicted that Stormy Daniels would bring him down.
But my next guest, who has been one of Trump's biggest critics since he took office in 2017, sees this as a long time coming, tweeting, quote, "Sometimes justice works." Joining me now is California Congresswoman Maxine Waters, ranking member of the House Financial Services Committee. Congresswoman Waters, as always, thank you very much for being here. As we all know, you predicted this indictment would happen, and you tweeted, quote, "Stormy Daniels would get him." How do you feel about being right?
Well, I feel that justice is being served. This president has gotten away with some of the most ridiculous actions. I think he's violated the Constitution. I think he really does not care about our democracy. And I think that it's time for him to have to be held accountable. And so justice is being served. This president has earned this indictment.
Look at that smile. Ear to ear, baby. Now, about Congressman Waters, a left-wing good government group called Citizens for Responsibility and Ethics in Washington, known as CREW, in the reports in 2005, 2006, 2009, and 2011 called Maxine Waters one of the most corrupt lawmakers in D.C. CREW wrote, and I'm quoting, "Waters and her husband, Sidney Williams, separately owned hundreds of thousands of dollars in stock in a bank called One United. Waters sold her shares in 2004, but her husband kept much of his when he sat on the bank's board from 2004 to 2008, leaving with a $350,000 stake in the company. When the economy tanked, Waters asked Treasury officials to stave off One United's collapse and arrange a series of meetings without disclosing her ties to the bank. One United ultimately received $12 million in TARP funds, which it had failed to pay back as of October 2010, end of quote. Now, there was a House ethics investigation into Waters' failure to disclose her ties to the bank. Waters played the race card, and the probe went pretty much supernova. Poof! and Maxine Waters live to legislate another day. Now hit that like button because I know you enjoy the show. And be sure to hit that subscribe button because I know you enjoy the show. Or did I say that already? Scroll down and you'll see where you can join our mailing list. Why? Because from time to time, for reasons that confound us, YouTube has issues with our vids. Maybe because of the stuff we said about the election. Maybe because it was some of the stuff we said about COVID. I don't know. But in order to make sure you don't miss any of our videos, get on our mailing list. Finally, you see that round donate button? Hit that, throw a little something in the tip jar. Make sure we can continue to give you hard-hitting, candid programming. Remember, Larry with epoch.com, Larry with epoch.com. I'm Larry Elder. This has been the Larry Elder Show for Epoch Times. We got a country to save. See you next time.